Hello and welcome to the folding tutorial for Swallow. As you can see, this is a beautiful paper airplane with these swept-backed wings that will remind you of the bird it is named after, and it even flies in a way that is similar to a swallow as well, with its tendency to duck and dive and bob and weave, and it is very, very cool to see in flight. So let me go ahead and show you the plane in flight, and then I'll teach you how to fold it. All you will need in order to fold Swallow is an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper, but if you're using one of my templates, be sure to orient yours as I have mine here. And with that, we'll begin by folding the left edge to the right edge. So as we do this next step, make sure that this left edge is your folded edge and this right edge is your raw edge. And we're going to go ahead and fold diagonally from this top left corner down to this bottom right corner. And as I do that, what I like to do is I pull this whole side and I try to just swing it until it catches right here at that top point. And I kind of tack that down. And then I swivel this bottom portion into alignment while making sure that I hold that top edge locked. And that's a pretty good way to get your crease to be as close to perfect as possible, going from the top corner to the bottom corner. And once we've done that, we can go ahead and turn the paper over. And we're going to fold this side to match. So we want to take this corner and land it on this corner because that's going to keep our plane symmetrical. And again, our crease should go from the top corner to the bottom corner of the paper. Okay, and your plane should now look like this. We're going to go ahead and unfold both of those steps and position our paper back like this. Next, we're just going to fold this top edge down to the bottom edge, but instead of actually creasing all the way across the paper here, what we want to do is just tack that center point right there. That is just going to be a reference to us on a future fold, which we're going to do now by folding this top edge to that point we just made. And again, we are just tacking this and making what's called a pinch crease there as well, not creasing all the way across the top. And we're actually going to make a few more pinch creases. We'll fold this outer right edge to our center crease and make a pinch crease right here at the bottom of the paper. And I'll do the same thing on this side, folding the left edge to the center and making a pinch crease. And now we can use those pinch creases to actually make two more. We're going to fold the edge here to the pinch crease we made and make one pinch crease over here, right like that, and then fold this to this pinch crease. And make a pinch crease right there. And basically what we have done is we've created some reference points for us for the next fold. Because what we want to do is we're going to turn the paper over and we want to look at all these pinch creases we have. And basically we're trying to make a crease that runs parallel to this existing diagonal crease we have. And to do that, if we fold from this point here, this outermost pinch crease, to our topmost pinch crease, that will run parallel to this crease. So as I pull this whole thing over, I'm going to look and find my pinch crease down here on the bottom edge, and my pinch crease right here up at the top in the center, and those are the points that I want to try to crease through. So line those up, and I know this is a little bit tricky, but line those up, and then you can crease the whole length of that crease, and you'll see that is parallel to that. And actually you do, after you have folded this, you'll want to unfold this back into this orientation, and we're actually going to go ahead and fold from this pinch crease to that pinch crease as well to create another diagonal that runs parallel to this one. So there you can see is one pinch crease. I'm trying to get that lined up properly, and then my other pinch crease is right here at the top center. Try to get that lined up properly, and then I just make my crease all the way along the length of the paper. And then open your paper back up into this orientation once more. And now we're going to turn the paper over. So we've got this more decorated side face up again. And what we want to do now is we're going to make actually a few more diagonal creases that go between the diagonal creases that we already have. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to pinch one of these creases in between our forefinger and thumb and pull it, and we're going to try to land that crease right on this other diagonal crease. And what that will do is that will create that third crease that runs right between them. And it will also be parallel to both of those diagonal creases you have. I'm just flipping this way to kind of firm up that crease that I've already made, but your paper should look like this. And then you're going to go ahead and unfold that and do the same thing on this other side. So we're pinching this crease between our thumb and forefinger and pulling it to this other diagonal crease and trying to land it on the full length of that crease. And again, once I've kind of got that in place, I'll just flip this to make a nice firm crease along the layer that's actually folding. And then you can see your plane should look like that, and you will go ahead and open that up. And now we're going to go ahead and turn the paper over again. And I want you to pay attention, close attention here to the orientation of the creases on my plane. You can see that the outer crease here is a valley crease, the middle is a mountain, and then this inner one is also a valley crease. And the same thing on this side. Inner is valley, middle is mountain, outer is valley. And that is the orientation you want. You also want your middle crease here, your center crease, to be a mountain crease. And so you can see that means it naturally wants to pop up just a little bit off the paper. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to collapse the plane. And to do that, you're going to notice that, like I said, this will be a mountain, this will be a mountain. We've kind of created this A-frame shape, and this is also a mountain. But we need, as we do the next step, we need to focus right on this little diamond here, because that portion of this vertical crease is going to need to become a valley crease. And if it doesn't do it naturally, then you're going to need to help encourage it to do that. So you can see right here, this little section, I'm just going to poke down so that this diagonal crease is the dominant crease on both sides. It was popping up like that. I'm just going to do that. And that's going to make it really easy as I begin to collapse. And what I'm going to do is I'm putting my hands on the outer sides of each side of the paper, and I'm swinging in this bottom edge, these two corners towards each other. They're going to go in an arc towards each other right here. And you'll see mine's actually collapsing just fine as it is. But if yours isn't, it's going to be that you need to poke on that section just a little bit as you're collapsing it and encourage that to become a valley crease right along that center crease. And we're just collapsing it like so until that tower in the middle meets, and then you can pick the whole thing up and set it on the table just like this. And so your plane should look like this. We're going to go ahead and open this right edge of our paper while holding this fin down, and we're going to create a crease actually that runs right from this point here, put it right in the light, right in that point there, straight up to the back edge of the paper, and it should be, your crease should be perpendicular to this back edge and run straight up from this edge here. So watch, I'm opening it like so, and I'm creating a crease that goes right up to the back edge of the paper. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and turn the paper over, and you can see we've got this fin here, and I just want to flip that fin over to the other side and land this corner of the fin on that back edge of the paper to make sure that the crease I'm making is also perpendicular to the back edge. And then I'll stand that up rather, and we're going to need to collapse this fin. And that's a little bit tricky, but basically what we're going to do is, you can see that the fin is essentially a pocket, right? There's a layer on either side and there's a gap in the middle. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull each side of that pocket out. Using our thumbs, we're just grabbing it and pulling it outwards. Well, ultimately, it'll get so wide that you can't pull it out any farther. And at that point, you start to swing this top point down to land it on this bottom point. So watch, I pull out and then pull down like so. And you can see that top point goes to land on that bottom point. And once you get to there, you're going to crease and flatten these outer corners of that. So here, hopefully you can see, I'm going to crease that little corner right there, crease that little corner, and now I'm going to fan out this back section. I'm just fanning the whole thing open, and that lets me begin to push it flat. And I want to try to land this portion of the center crease again on the center in the middle of this V that's forming. And I just flatten all those layers. Okay, and then we can go ahead and rotate this 180 degrees, and we will fold this top edge now down so it lands right on the bottom edge of this black triangle we have here. And crease across that whole top edge. And your plane should look like this. And now we're just going to fold this top right edge into the center. And we'll do the same thing on the left side. Okay, and your plane should look like this. We'll go ahead and open up both those creases we just made. And our next step is to fold this outer edge to that crease. But as you do that, leave a bit of a gap. I don't know if you can see here, I'm leaving a gap between this crease and the edge that I'm folding, because the layers are going to get pretty thick here, and if we fold right up to that line, it's going to make the paper airplane a little messier in the end. So again, we're going to fold this left edge to this diagonal crease, except we're leaving just a bit of a gap again. You know, 1/8 of an inch, or not even 1/8 of an inch. Somewhere between a 1/16 and 1/8 of an inch, if those measurements make any sense to you. Just a small gap. And your plane should now look like this. And next we're just going to actually fold this edge here to the edge we just folded. So just gonna have to really work at it because the layers are gonna get quite thick at this point. You're just pulling that down, and this is why we wanted to leave that gap, because these layers are going to get so thick that they have a dimension that you need to kind of compensate for by leaving that gap, because we're going to fold this whole thing in like so. So again, leave a slight gap, and it should look like that, and we're going to do the same thing on the left side to there. And your plane should look like this, and now we'll just fold each side in like so. And you can really see the shape of the plane coming into form here. And now what we want to do is we're going to fold the top portion of our nose down. And there are some very thick layers here. So you kind of just pull the nose down until it encounters those really thick layers at the edge. And so you're just folding the thinnest part of this front down and kind of at its natural limits of where it wants to fold. And then we'll go ahead and unfold that. And then we're going to fold the plane in half on that existing center crease, like so. And what we're going to do now is we're going to stand this nose up using the crease we made just a second ago. And we're going to squash fold it, which just means we're opening up that pocket again and forcing this point here, the point of the plane, to land right there. So open up the pocket and squash it just like that. Now there are a couple ways to create the locking mechanism that we're creating here. I'm going to show you the simplest one, which will potentially let the layers tear, but there's a slightly more complicated one that I'll also try to show you in this video and teach you if you want to attempt that as well, because it ends up with a slightly cleaner plane in the end. So, okay, we've created, the squash fold, and now we want to fold this point here to that point there, creasing from this point here to that point there. So that's just folding it straight down like so. And you can see if we just push this right section of this little front lock we've made to the other side, yep, it is, because this paper's pretty thick, it is tearing. You can see that will create a lock from one side to the other side of the plane, and that's going to work great. If you just want to do that, just do that. But I'm going to unfold that and actually show you a slightly more complicated way that will avoid that tear. If you're using thinner paper, that's not going to tear anyways. But with these templates, we're going to go ahead and open up. So we just folded to this point here. We're going to open that up, and now we can kind of use our finger and pull open that pocket and pull open this right pocket as well. And then as you fold down again, you can see how those pockets open out and create these kinds of squares that are now, the whole locking mechanism is thinner. So if we had started with that, this paper wouldn't tear as I fold to the other side. And there we go, we've got our locking mechanism, and now we just need to fold our wings. So our wings will go from this point right here to just above the locking mechanism in the front. So let me fold one and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so you can see kind of the path of my crease going right from this point to just right above there. That corner of the lock is kind of your reference at the front end, because if you go below that, it'll get really messy. So you fold one wing, and then you just flip it over and fold this other wing to match. Okay, and now we're going to lay the whole thing down just like this on the table. And you can see, let me just actually show you. You can see it's locked front to back. If we pull on it, it's not coming open, which is really one of the things that makes this plane so cool. And now we will go ahead and lay it like this. And we're just going to fold little winglets right out here on the outer edges that are parallel to our center crease. So you're going to have to kind of estimate what parallel to the center crease means. But just use your eyes and make your best judgment and try to make your winglets the same size on each side. And now you have a finished paper airplane. Look at Swallow. I love the shape of this plane. It really is cool, and it bobs and weaves as it flies, which is awesome as well. I doubt you will need this, but if you find that the plane dives down slightly, then you can bend the back edges of the wings up, and that's called giving it up elevator. That will help compensate. But really, this plane, I don't think that's something this plane normally does. But what you do want to pay attention to is on most planes you want like a decent amount of dihedral angle, which means that you angle the wings upwards. That's actually not the case on Swallow. You want the wings to be as flat, almost as flat as possible, to maybe just a few degrees upwards. I mean, really start with it flat and see how you're doing. And then you make sure your winglets are angled straight down towards the ground, perpendicular to your wings, and those are where you're going to make most of your adjustments if you find that the plane is turning or spinning. These little winglets are actually going to be the things that you want to adjust. So there you go. I hope this video was helpful for you. As always, good luck flying your plane.